Imagine furniture that doesn't come from a factory floor, but from the forest floor. Pieces that aren't assembled from identical boards, but sculpted from trees' natural forms. This is the world of naturally crafted chairs and tables, furniture that retains and celebrates its organic origin. The philosophy is simple, yet profound. The wood leads and the maker follows. The design doesn't come from a pre-drawn plan, but emerges from the material itself. Every piece is as unique as a snowflake from the forest. The form follows function, yes, but it always honors the source, creating a chair that still whispers, "I was a tree." This is the absolute opposite of factory furniture. These pieces proudly show fingerprints, tool marks, and raw character. You'll recognize them by their live edges, where the bark or cambium layer remains, by their natural curves, borrowed from branches, roots, and trunk shapes. They treat visible imperfections, knots, checks, beautiful spalting, not as flaws but as central features. They show minimal machining, with handwork lovingly evident. Their joinery looks grown, not assembled, and their finish enhances the wood's story, never conceals it. So what forms do these pieces take? Let's start with chairs that seem to breathe. There's the found branch chair, crafted from naturally curved branches that require no steam bending. Each unique curve is preserved, creating what looks like a comfortable thicket you can sit in. Then, the slab throne, where a single thick slab forms both seat and back, supported by stout branch sections, with minimal cutting and maximal presence. For something truly sculptural, there's the root cluster chair, which uses the dramatic flair from a tree base, turning roots into legs and the trunk into a seat, each one a complete original. The driftwood lounge takes ocean or river-smoothed branches and assembles them organically. It feels like sitting on a beached whale skeleton, with curves that perfectly conform to the body. And perhaps most magical, the still-growing chair, which incorporates bark, lichen, or even living moss, feeling like you've brought a living piece of the forest indoors, its ephemeral beauty changing slightly over the years. Tables, too, have souls. The river table, too, takes nature's cracks and fills them with rivers of clear or colored epoxy, celebrating live edges on all sides. The tree cookie table uses cross-sections from massive trunks, showing an entire life history in its rings, stabilized and polished like a gemstone. For a touch of magic, the floating forest table uses a glass top that hovers over a sculptural branch base, creating the illusion of branches growing right through it. The cathedral table utilizes a whole slab from a majestic tree fork, where the natural Y or multiple trunks become the base itself, requiring almost no cutting of the form. And the timeline table arranges different wood species by their growth era, telling the story of an entire forest's ecological succession in a single, stunning piece. Creating these pieces is less a construction process and more a natural ritual. It begins with the hunt. You adopt the mindset that you don't choose the wood, it chooses you. You look for character, not convenience. Sometimes you find the perfect branch first and then design the chair around it. Your sourcing becomes an adventure. Storm chasing after weather events, forging partnerships with arborists, foraging along rivers after spring runoff, building relationships with farms and estates, and practicing urban salvage at construction sites. You learn what makes a log the one. Natural curves that already suggest sitting or support, interesting grain that tells a silent story, the right scale for human furniture, undeniable structural integrity to last generations, and that intangible emotional resonance. Does it just feel special? Then comes processing with reverence. Step 1 is the long wait, drying. You commit to air drying only for maximum character preservation, 1 year per inch of thickness. This isn't manufacturing, it's meditation. You anchor seal the ends immediately to prevent splitting and store the wood with spacers, rotating it occasionally. Step 2 is the reveal, milling. You use chainsaw milling on site to preserve every possible inch, cutting slabs that flow with the tree's natural shapes. You keep everything, even off-cuts have future purpose, and you meticulously number and photograph each piece for its provenance. Step 3 is the conversation, design. You lay the pieces out and live with them for weeks. You trace their shadows to find forms, make cardboard templates to test proportions, and you sleep on it, allowing the design to emerge slowly. Step 4 is the dance, shaping. You reach for hand tools, draw knives, spoke shaves, whenever you can. you use power tools only for the rough work. If you're making a chair, you constantly test it, and you leave gentle tool marks as texture and evidence of the human hand. Step 5 is the marriage, joinery. You use through tenons that show proud, wedged mortise and tenon that looks ancient, and natural pegs from branches of the same tree. Metal is used minimally, only where absolutely necessary. Finally, step 6 is the awakening, finishing. You use only hand-rubbed oils like tongue or linseed, followed by wax for depth. You don't sand past 220 grit, you keep some tooth. And you celebrate checks and cracks, either filling them with clear epoxy or leaving them be as part of the narrative. But can you build a life around this? Absolutely. This is where you shift from carpenter to artist. Forget hourly rates, you're selling art. Your pricing formula is material rarity plus story depth plus technical skill, all multiplied by the emotional impact. That means a natural branch chair might be $800 to $3,500, a dining table $4,000 to $25,000 or more. You never apologize for the price, you're saving forests, not clear-cutting them. The right clients understand they're investing in an heirloom. Your marketing is magic because the story is everything. You share the before and after journey from muddy log to masterpiece. You write the tree's biography, where it lived, what it witnessed. You chronicle every creative decision and muse about the future this piece will witness in its new home. You sell an experience, wood selection appointments, studio visits that feel like gallery openings, build-along updates for clients, and a delivery ceremony with champagne. You build a digital presence that's 40% process, 30% finished beauty, 20% backstories, and 10% lifestyle. You form partnerships with interior designers, architects, and galleries who bring the dream clients. You structure your growth, starting as a solo artisan, then growing to a studio with an apprentice, then an atelier with a small team, and ultimately a legacy brand. Your sales process becomes a journey of connection. It starts with a stunning website that acts as a magnet, leads to personal conversations and custom sketches, requires a 50% deposit to begin, includes the client with weekly updates, and culminates in a white-glove delivery that feels like a ceremony. You discover niche markets with deep pockets, the memorial market, transforming a family's beloved tree into heirlooms, the corporate art market for boardroom tables, the wellness market for yoga studios, and the luxury hospitality market for boutique hotels. This path requires fundamental mindset shifts. You move from being a carpenter to an artist. You're not building furniture, you're releasing tree spirits. From a seller to a storyteller, you're not closing sales, you're beginning legacies. From a maker to a legacy builder, your work will outlive you, becoming future antiques. Your first year has a roadmap. Spend 3 months building a foundation and a portfolio. The next 3 making your first sales and connections. Another 3 refining your style and raising prices. And the final quarter building momentum with commissions. Because here is the ultimate truth. Naturally crafted chairs and tables aren't a furniture business. They're a relationship business. You're mediating between tree and human, past and future, wild and domestic, utility and art. The most successful practitioners aren't the best woodworkers, they're the best translators. They listen to the wood, understand a client's deep, unmet need for connection to nature, and build the bridge between them. Your real product isn't a chair. It's the feeling someone gets when they run their hand along a live edge and feel 200 years of growth rings. It's the story they tell their guests about the hurricane that brought this tree down. It's the legacy they're building for their grandchildren. The wood has already done the hard work, growing for a century. The client is ready, hungry for authenticity in a plastic world. You are the matchmaker. Now go find a log with a story and start listening. Your first heirloom is waiting in the forest, and someone's family is waiting to cherish it for generations. What will you help the forest say to the world? To build something like this, it asks more of you than just skill. It asks for patience, for a different kind of seeing. It asks you to listen to a story that began 100 years before you ever picked up a tool. You're not just shaping wood, you're translating, you're giving a new voice to a quiet history, and in doing that, you're not just creating furniture, you're creating a place for memory, for connection, for a story that continues now with someone else. And that is the true craft, not what you take from the forest, but what you bring back into a home, a sense of permanence, a feeling of life, a piece of the wild, tamed just enough to hold a coffee cup, or a conversation, or a family. If this idea of making things that matter, things with a story and a soul, resonates with you, then you're already part of this. Subscribe for more journeys from the forest to the home. Share this with someone who understands that the best things in life aren't perfect, they're alive. And tell me in the comments, what's the oldest, most storied piece of wood you've ever found?